Have you ever heard of a philosophy that promises inner peace and emotional control? Welcome to the world of Stoicism. But what if I told you that one of history's most influential thinkers, Friedrich Nietzsche, deeply detested it? Prepare to discover why this apparent quest for serenity was, for Nietzsche, a dangerous denial of life itself. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy, born in ancient Greece and flourishing in Rome. It promised tranquility of the soul, or apatheia, through reason and acceptance of fate. Its principles are simple yet powerful. The Stoics believed that happiness came from living in harmony with nature. This meant distinguishing what we can control, our thoughts, judgments, actions, from what we cannot, external events, health, death. By focusing solely on the former, peace could be achieved. Figures such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Emperor Marcus Aurelius were its greatest exponents. Their works are full of practical advice on how to face adversity. They teach us to cultivate virtue, to be resilient, and to remain calm in the face of challenges. Today, Stoicism is experiencing a revival, appreciated for its ability to offer tools for stress management. Many see it as an antidote to the anxiety of modern life. It's a philosophy that encourages reflection and self-control. Friedrich Nietzsche, who lived in the 19th century, was a radical and provocative thinker. His philosophy is a hymn to life, strength, and the creation of values. He openly challenged traditional morality. Nietzsche introduced revolutionary concepts such as the will to power, the overseer, Übermensch, and the eternal recurrence. For him, life was not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be embraced in all its complexity. He extolled passion, risk, and suffering as essential elements for growth. His criticism targeted everything he perceived as anti-life or decadent. This included much of Christian morality, and surprisingly to some, even Stoicism. Nietzsche saw the denial of passions as a weakness. His style was aphoristic and poetic, often enigmatic. He wanted to shake consciences, push individuals to surpass themselves. His philosophy is an invitation to become what one is without compromise. The core of the disagreement between Nietzsche and Stoicism lies in their view of reason and emotion. The Stoics elevated reason to the supreme guide, seeking to suppress the passions. For Nietzsche, this was a fundamental error. For the Stoics, passions, such as anger, fear, and desire, were disturbances of the soul. They had to be controlled or eliminated through logic and discipline. The ideal was apatheia, a state of emotional imperturbability. Nietzsche, on the other hand, saw passions as the lifeblood of existence. They were the source of creativity, strength, and joy. Suppressing them meant castrating life itself, rendering it sterile and meaningless. He argued that reason, when used to deny instincts, became an instrument of weakness. It was an attempt to escape the fullness of human experience. For Nietzsche, true strength lay in the integration of passions, not in their repression. This contrast is crucial to understanding his critique. It wasn't a simple disagreement, but a profound divergence on the very nature of human beings. Stoic reason was, for Nietzsche, a form of mummification of life. Another crucial point of contention is the attitude toward fate and suffering. Both philosophies speak of acceptance, but with radically different nuances. This is where the difference between the two approaches becomes apparent. The Stoics taught acceptance of what cannot be changed. Endure and forbear was their motto. When faced with an adverse event, such as losing a job, a Stoic would say, "I cannot control the loss, but I can control my reaction. I accept reality and focus on how to act virtuously now." The goal is to maintain inner peace, not to be disturbed. Nietzsche, on the other hand, proposed amor fati, the love of one's destiny. This wasn't a passive resignation, but a joyful affirmation of all that happens. Faced with the very loss of a job, a Nietzschean would say, "Yes, this is my destiny. I not only accept it, I love it. I see it as an opportunity to reinvent myself, to create something new, to surpass myself. This suffering is part of my greatness." Do you see the difference? Stoic acceptance aims for inner peace through detachment. Nietzsche's amor fati is an active and passionate affirmation of life, including its cruelty. It is a total embrace, not mere tolerance. For Nietzsche, suffering was not an evil to be avoided, but a catalyst for growth. It was through overcoming difficulties that individuals could reach their fullest expression. Stoic acceptance seemed to him an escape from life's true challenges. The Stoic ideal of apatheia, the absence of passion, was for Nietzsche a sign of weakness. He contrasted this with the fullness of pathos, emotional experience in all its intensity. Stoic apatheia did not mean the absence of feelings, but the elimination of irrational passions. The goal was imperturbable calm, a clear and rational mind. It was the path to virtue and happiness. Nietzsche saw this as an impoverishment of human existence. For him, passions, unbridled joy, burning anger, profound pain were essential. They were the raw material from which greatness was forged. An artist, a creator, an innovator cannot be apathetic. They need passion to push themselves beyond limits. They need suffering to understand the depth of existence. They need joy to celebrate life. Nietzsche didn't propose being slaves to our passions, but integrating and sublimating them, using them as energy for our will to power. Apatheia seemed to him an escape from the responsibility of living fully. It was a renunciation of the richness and complexity of being. Another profound divergence concerns morality. Stoicism proposed a universal morality based on reason and virtue. Nietzsche, on the other hand, advocated the individual creation of values. The Stoics believed in a universal natural law, accessible to all through reason. Virtue was the same for all human beings. Living virtuously meant acting in accordance with this universal reason. Nietzsche categorically rejected the idea of a universal morality. For him, moralities were human creations, often the expression of a weak will to power. Stoic morality, with its emphasis on self-control and moderation, seemed to him a morality for the weak. He urged individuals to become legislators unto themselves, to create their own values. This was the path of the overman, the one who transcends existing moralities. It was not anarchy, but profound individual responsibility. Stoic morality, with its quest for conformity to reason, was for Nietzsche an attempt to standardize individuals. It hindered the flourishing of singularity and exceptionality. True strength lay in the ability to forge one's own path. Nietzsche saw Stoicism as a form of asceticism, similar to the asceticism he criticized in Christianity. Both, in his view, denied life in the name of a higher ideal. Stoic asceticism manifested itself in the rigorous discipline of passions and desires. Voluntary deprivation was practiced to strengthen the will and achieve apatheia. It was a way to free oneself from the chains of the body and emotions. Nietzsche considered this a symptom of a diseased will to power. It was an attempt to escape from sensory and corporeal reality. For him, the body and its instincts were an integral part of life and needed to be affirmed, not denied. His philosophy was a radical affirmation of life in all its manifestations. There was no room for denial or mortification. Human greatness lay in embracing one's nature, not in repressing it. Stoicism, with its emphasis on moderation and detachment, seemed to him another expression of the slave morality he so despised, a morality that valorized weakness and renunciation. Let's imagine two people facing a serious illness. The Stoic approach. I cannot control illness, but I can control my mind. I accept my condition, focus on my virtue, and remain calm. I do not allow myself to be overwhelmed by fear or despair. I seek inner peace despite the circumstances. This is an example of how Stoicism works to maintain serenity. The Nietzschean approach. This illness is my destiny and I love it. It is not an obstacle but a challenge that pushes me to find a strength I didn't know I had. I will use it to create, to live more intensely, to affirm my will to power. I don't just accept it, I transform it into part of my greatness. This is an example of how Nietzsche's philosophy works to transform suffering into affirmation. Do you see how the demo of these philosophies leads to very different internal and behavioral outcomes? The Stoic seeks peace through control and detached acceptance. The Nietzschean seeks greatness through affirmation and transformation. Nietzsche didn't see illness as an evil to be passively endured. He saw it as an opportunity for the individual to transcend himself, to demonstrate his vital strength. Today, both Stoicism and Nietzsche's philosophy continue to resonate. Stoicism offers tools for resilience and stress management, highly valued in a frenetic world. It teaches us to find calm in chaos. But Nietzsche's critique reminds us of the importance of not falling into excessive passivity. It pushes us to ask ourselves, are we truly living fully, or are we simply accepting what is imposed on us? Are we creating our own values or following those of others? His philosophy is an invitation to authenticity, to self-creation. It challenges us not to settle for mere survival, but to seek flourishing greatness, to not fear passions, but to use them as a driving force. Both philosophies offer valuable perspectives. The choice between Stoic acceptance and Nietzschean affirmation depends on what we seek in life. Do we desire inner peace at all costs, or are we willing to embrace chaos to achieve greatness? Nietzsche's lesson is a warning not to deny life in any of its forms, not to flee from suffering, but to transform it, not to settle for an imposed morality, but to forge your own. We've explored the profound reasons why Nietzsche detested Stoicism. It wasn't a mere whim, but a philosophical critique rooted in a radically different vision of life. While Stoicism sought serenity through control and acceptance, Nietzsche exalted life in all its chaotic, passionate, and creative fullness. Now it's your turn. Which of these philosophies resonates with you most? Are you more inclined to the rational calm of Stoicism or the passionate affirmation of life of Nietzsche? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. If this video made you think, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other philosophical insights that challenge conventional wisdom. And remember, philosophy isn't just theory, it's a way to live your life to the fullest.